the General Motors Proving Ground in Milford, Michigan, an exclusive arena in which the best of men and machines are in unending pursuit of improved driving safety and vehicle performance. Day and night, mile after grueling mile, vehicles of all types and their drivers are subjected to intensive testing. Over 4,000 acres and 123 miles of roads that duplicate almost every driving condition and challenge you'll ever experience. Today, we're getting a rare glimpse of the activity behind the Proving Ground gates. Chevrolet Motor Division has invited us to see firsthand how experts on the traffic safety staff confront and handle common challenges of everyday driving. Safe driving actually begins before the car even moves, with routine maintenance. Check the headlamps. Make sure they're working and the lenses are clean. Tires must be periodically checked, both for tread wear and inflation pressure. Insufficient tire tread will contribute to skids on wet or oily surfaces. Too much or too little inflation pressure can adversely affect tire life and vehicle handling. Tail lights and brake lights must work properly, and the brakes must be checked. With your foot down hard on the pedal should feel firm. Turn signals have to be operative, and so must the windshield wiper washer equipment. The owner's manual offers excellent advice on routine maintenance. When you get ready to drive, start your pre-driving checks by adjusting the seat to fit you. Adjust all mirrors, inside and out, for maximum visibility. And make sure the doors are closed and locked before starting. The importance of using the seatbelt cannot be overemphasized. If you're driving a particular car for the first time, unfasten and fasten the belt again in order to become accustomed to its operation. Millions of people know how to operate a car. Far fewer really know how to drive a car, especially in emergencies. To help us better understand just what's required in handling the unexpected safely, we have enlisted the help of a recognized expert on the subject. Doc Whitworth has been a driver's training educator as well as a special test driver, and he brings both skills to his job as manager of traffic safety, planning, and training at the GM Proving Ground. Doc Whitworth identified the most frequent causes of accidents on the road.
Three most frequent causes of accidents, or what we call driver conflicts, are 1, impairment due to alcohol, 2, misinterpretation of driving task, or in other words, poor visual skills, and 3, improper response to emergency situations. Every driver behind the wheel of a car must realize that unexpected danger lurks in every mile of driving we do, whether it's a cross-country vacation trip or a ride to the corner store. I have one fundamental rule that I recite over and over again. It doesn't matter whether you're a professional test driver or a beginner. You must know and drive within your own limits, the limits of your vehicle, and the limits of the road. I want you to keep that rule firmly in mind as we show you what can happen out there on the road and what you can do to stay out of trouble.
One of the common unexpected situations that Doc Whitworth was talking about is that in which a car coming in the opposite direction tries to pass another vehicle, and in so doing, forces you onto the shoulder. The driver will steer left too much, temporarily losing control of the car and sending it across the road into oncoming traffic. Now let's look at the right response to off-road recovery. Once off the road, the driver eases off the gas, doesn't touch the brake, gets it settled before steering back onto the pavement, using a quarter turn of the wheel to assume the proper angle, in total control throughout the maneuver.
We are now going to demonstrate controlled braking, how to brake and steer simultaneously.
Watch how the driver reacts to an unexpected occurrence. Controlled braking is required. Note that the driver did not stand on the brake pedal, but instead she applied sufficient braking pressure to slow the car down and allow complete control throughout the maneuver. Keep in mind that if all 4 brakes are locked, the car cannot be steered. The adverse effect that locked wheels may have on handling can best be demonstrated in how to handle skids. We're going to show you 3 types of skids, starting with what we call a braking skid. In this type of skid, steering control of the vehicle is completely lost because all four wheels have locked. You're looking at the birth of a cornering skid, in which the driver came into the curve much too fast for safe and proper car control, with scary results. Finally, the driver will now go into what we term a power skid, which takes place when a heavy foot on the accelerator applies excessive power. The wheels spin and fail to provide traction. What should you do if you're ever in a skid situation? Just remember this one rule. Let up on the brakes so that the wheels can roll. Whether the skid pulls the vehicle right or left, steer to keep the nose of the car pointed down the road. And notice how the seatbelt helps the driver retain control by keeping him right behind the wheel.
Here's something that occurs thousands of times every day.
Somebody runs a stop sign and pulls directly across your lane. Our driver did the right thing. We call it looking for the space. Driving is 100% judgment, and you can't exercise good judgment unless you're alert. We're going to show you a situation now that will demonstrate the importance of always being alert. There are always drivers on the road who really have no business being there. They are either too tired to drive or, as often occurs, are the impaired victims of too much alcohol. You're driving along in your own lane, minding your business, and suddenly you're going to have company. Again, go to the space. Look for your escape route.
In addition to knowing how to handle emergencies, your safety and the safety of your drivers depends upon the routine driving habits you follow. Here are some tips that are not only easy to remember, but will help to make you a safer driver.
Keep your hands in the 9 and 3 positions on the steering wheel. This provides good balance, and your hands are in an ideal position for any sudden maneuver, allowing 180 degrees flexibility. Note also how the driver keeps a safe distance from the vehicle in front. A good rule of thumb is to allow a 2-second interval, regardless of the speed. It is also advisable when approaching an intersection to practice what we term poised braking. That is, keep the brake covered in the event you're required to make a sudden stop. We learn to pre-think traffic situations, a habit that will help to keep you out of trouble. You've all seen this type of altered vehicle on the road. Maybe some of you even own or owned one. The rear end has been jacked up to emulate some of the funny cars you see on the drag strips. Mismatching the wheel size and tires is asking for trouble. The combination of the high rear end and mismatched tires can make a vehicle of this type extremely hard to handle, even in the hands of experienced professional drivers. Do not mix different tire types, such as radial, bias, and bias belted, on your vehicle, except in emergencies, because your vehicle's handling could be affected and may result in loss of control.
We've given you quite a lot to think about, but that's what good driving is all about. 100% concentration, skill, and attention.
Now, let's review some of the situations and solutions Doc Whitworth and his team showed us and see how much you've learned. We'll start with off-road recovery. You're driving along a two-way road. An oncoming vehicle attempting to pass a car in front suddenly veers over into your lane. There's a sharp drop-off at the edge of the road, making it difficult for you to recover. What should you do? Maintain your speed? Steer into the drop-off and try to force the car back onto the road? Jam on your brakes? Or slow the vehicle down before properly steering back onto the pavement? If you opted for the third action, you're correct. Slow the vehicle down, then properly steer it back onto the road by turning the wheel no more than a 1/4 turn, but enough to keep the front tire from simply riding against the edge of the drop-off. You're driving up a hill with no clear view of what's on the other side. Suddenly, you see that a disabled vehicle is stopped in your lane. What do? Stand on the brake? Sound your horn? Slow down, applying just enough pressure on the brake to allow you to retain complete control as you take evasive action? In order to prevent the car from veering out of control, apply gradual pressure on the brake pedal to a point just before wheel lockup to slow the car down as you take evasive action. When a skid on wet or oily pavement seems inevitable, what do? Jam your foot on the accelerator? Jam your foot on the brake? Steer your way out of the skid, keeping the nose of the car pointed down the road. The correct answer: keep the nose of the car pointed down the road, whether the skid takes you to the right or left, until you regain complete control. You're driving along and suddenly another driver, completely ignoring the stop sign, pulls out of a side street and into your path. What do? Yell at the other driver? Jam on the brake for a panic stop? Look for the space? Good drivers will look for the space and slow down as they make their evasive move. A car coming in the opposite direction cuts across the road into your path. What do? Sound your horn, hoping to get the other driver's attention? Go around him to the left? Go around him to the right? The correct maneuver is to go around to the left. In other words, go to the space, provided there is no other traffic oncoming. Look for your best escape route and drive to it. The driving techniques you have just seen are the most widely accepted and used techniques for handling the unexpected. Remember, safe driving begins with proper car maintenance and includes pre-driving preparation. Once on the road, these basic techniques, plus your own good judgment, remain the difference between getting into or staying out of trouble. In the words of an expert,
you must know and drive within your own limits, the limits of the vehicle, and the limits of the road.
With the help of Doc Whitworth and his team, you now have a better understanding of how to handle some of the unexpected challenges of safe driving. We hope that in sharing this day at the proving ground through this film, you too will be better at handling the unexpected.